The day Earth changed forever began like any other. Lieutenant Ta Jin checked his uniform one last time in the mirror. His dark eyes looked back at him, calm despite what was about to happen. Today, humans would meet aliens for the first time. "Lieutenant, the transport is ready," said a voice over the speaker. Jin took a deep breath. "On my way." The United Earth Council had chosen Jin because he was the best xenolinguist they had. He could learn languages faster than anyone. He was also known for staying calm in hard situations. Both skills would be needed today. Outside, the sky was clear blue. Perfect weather for first contact. Jin walked to the waiting aircraft, nodding at the soldiers who stood guard. Everyone looked tense. Everyone except Jin. "Nervous?" asked Director Su as Jin sat down next to her in the aircraft. "Curious," Jin replied. "We've waited so long to know we're not alone." The aircraft took off, heading for the meeting point. 3 days ago, a massive ship had appeared above Earth. It didn't attack. Instead, it sent a message in perfect English. "We are the Korra. We come to talk." Jin looked out the window as they flew over the special meeting area, built in just 48 hours. The large, round platform with a dome over it. Simple but strong. "We're here," said Director Su as they landed. "Remember, you speak for all humans now." Inside the dome, Jin and 5 other humans waited. A soft hum filled the air, and then a beam of light appeared in the center of the room. 3 tall figures took shape. Jin's eyes widened. The Korra were beautiful and scary at the same time. They stood over 7 feet tall with slender bodies covered in shiny scales that changed color in the light. Their faces looked almost human, but their eyes were large, reflective, and had no pupils. Long, delicate fingers ended in sharp claws. The tallest Korra stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Hannah," she said, her voice musical but with a strange echo. "I speak for the Korra Galactic Alliance." Jin stepped forward too. "I am Lieutenant Ta Jin. I welcome you to Earth." Hannah's head tilted slightly. "Your world is young, but interesting. We have watched you for decades." Jin kept his face calm, but his mind raced. They had been watching. For how long? "We come with an offer," Hannah continued. "The galaxy is full of dangers. The Korra Alliance offers protection to worthy species." "Protection?" asked Director Su. "From what?" Hannah's scales flickered blue. "From everything that waits in the dark. From each other. From yourselves." Jin noticed how the other Korra moved. They were graceful but always ready to attack, like predators. Their claws flexed when they spoke of danger. "We offer Earth a place as a protectorate," said Hannah. "You will have access to our technology, our markets, our knowledge. In return, you follow Korra law and accept Korra guidance." Director Su frowned. "And if we prefer independence?" Hannah's scales darkened. "Then you remain alone, cut off from all cosmic affairs. The choice is yours." The meeting continued for hours. The Korra explained their alliance, their rules, their expectations. They showed amazing technology and talked about wonders beyond Earth. But Jin saw the truth behind their pretty words. This wasn't an invitation. It was an ultimatum. As the meeting ended, the other humans left to discuss what they had heard. Jin stayed behind to arrange the next meeting. Suddenly, Hannah appeared beside him. Without the others watching, she moved differently, more like the predator she truly was. She stood over Jin, her claws extended. "Tell me, Lieutenant Jin," she whispered, leaning close. "Why aren't you scared, human? The others try to hide their fear, but they stink of it. You don't. Why?" Jin looked up into her alien eyes. He didn't step back. He didn't look away. He simply smiled. "Because fear is a choice," he said quietly. "And I choose otherwise." Hannah froze. Jin saw the change in her posture. For just a moment, she was the one who seemed uncertain. Her blood ran cold when she heard his reply. In all their encounters with other species, the Korra had never heard such words. Jin bowed slightly. Until tomorrow, Ambassador. Then he turned and walked away, leaving the confused alien staring after him. 1 month after first contact, the Korra built their embassy on Earth. It was a tall tower that shone like mother of pearl, standing in the middle of a large field. No human had helped build it. The Korra ship simply sent down a beam, and the building grew from the ground in one day. Lieutenant Jin was named the main guide for Ambassador Hannah. His job was to show her human life and culture. The United Earth Council hoped this would help the Korra see humans as worthy allies, not just servants. Today I will show you our history, Jin told Hannah as they met outside the embassy. Hannah's scales shimmered in the morning light. History is important. It shows what a species truly is. They rode in a quiet electric car to the first stop, a museum about World War I. Jin watched Hannah carefully as they walked through rooms showing the worst of human war. Your kind killed each other in great numbers, Hannah said, looking at old photos of battles. Yes, Jin admitted, we have fought many wars. Yet you speak of peace to us. Hannah's voice had an edge. How strange. We learn from our mistakes, Jin said. Each war taught us to try harder for peace. Hannah made a sound like a hiss. On our world, the strong rule the weak. It is natural. Jin nodded. The Korra evolved as predators, didn't they? The top predators, Hannah said with pride. Our ancestors hunted all others. Now we hunt among the stars. Jin led her to the next room, which showed how countries rebuilt after the war. But look what we built after fighting. Hannah seemed less interested in this part. Throughout the day, Jin noticed she paid more attention to human weapons and wars than to human art or cooperation. It told him much about Korra values. The next day, they visited a hospital. Hannah watched doctors saving lives with a confused look. You'd use much energy to save the weak, she said. We believe every life has value, Jin explained. Strong or weak. Inefficient, Hannah replied. On the third day, they went to a place Jin had chosen carefully, a disaster memorial. It showed how humans had survived floods, earthquakes, and climate crises. Your planet tries to kill you often, Hannah observed. Yes, but we adapt and survive, Jin said. Humans have almost been wiped out many times. But we're still here. Hannah's scales turned a deep blue as she thought about this. Most species we meet beg for protection. They fear what waits in space. They fear us. But humans. She stared at Jin. You don't act right. Jin smiled. How should we act? Afraid, Hannah said, suddenly loud. Several people nearby looked over. Hannah lowered her voice. You should be afraid of what we could do. Would that make you more comfortable? Jin asked. Hannah didn't answer. Later that week, they stood at a war memorial. Stone names of the dead stretched far into the distance. After seeing all this death, Hannah asked, why do humans keep fighting wars? You know the horror it brings. Jin looked at the names. Because we value freedom more than safety. We value progress more than comfort. He turned to face her. Our greatest achievements were born from our darkest moments. Hannah was silent for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was different, almost troubled. My reports to the High Council show humans are strange. You don't act like other species we've met. You don't fear properly. She leaned closer to Jin. This makes some of my people nervous. Why would our lack of fear make the mighty Korra nervous? Jin asked. Hannah's scales flickered rapidly. Because what we don't understand, we can't control. As they walked back to the car, Jin saw a small ship land near the Korra embassy in the distance. More Korra were coming. The assessment of humanity was entering a new phase. Tomorrow, Hannah said, you will meet Commander Da. He has questions about humans that I cannot answer. Jin nodded calmly, but inside, he knew things were about to get much harder. The real test was just beginning. Commander Day was taller than Hana. His scales were darker, with red patterns that looked like battle scars. His claws were longer. Everything about him was made to scare. Jin met him in the Korra embassy. The room was too warm for humans, and the chairs were too tall. Jin knew this was on purpose. The Korra wanted humans to feel small. "Lieutenant Jin," Day said, his voice deeper than Hana's. "I have read all reports about you." Jin nodded politely. "Welcome to Earth, Commander. Hana says humans are different from other species we have met." Da walked around Jin in a circle, like a shark. "I am here to find out why." "I'm happy to help," Jin said, staying still and calm. Day stopped circling. "You should know that the High Council is concerned. Your kind does not respond as expected." "How should we respond?" Jin asked. "With proper respect," Day said, his claws clicking together. "With fear." Over the next few weeks, strange things began to happen around the world. First, 3 major cities lost power for 6 hours. Then, ocean shipping routes were blocked by navigation errors. Food deliveries were delayed. Nothing was ever directly linked to the Korra, but Jin knew. These were tests. He was proven right when Day invited him to the embassy again. "Your people handled the power outage well," Daz said without pretending it wasn't his doing. "No panic." "Interesting." "We've had worse," Jin said simply. The next day, a Korra ship appeared over New Beijing and fired weapons into the empty ocean nearby. The blast created waves higher than buildings. Again, humans responded with calm planning instead of fear. World leaders met. Scientists worked to understand Korra technology. Militaries prepared defenses but didn't attack. Everyone stayed calm. Jin was called to an emergency meeting with Director Su and General Park. "They're pushing us," General Park said angrily. "Testing our limits." Director Su nodded. "But why? What do they want to see?" "They want to see us scared," Jin explained. "Their whole society is built on fear. They don't understand why we aren't afraid of them." "Should we pretend to be afraid?" Director Su asked. Jin shook his head. "No, that would make things worse. They would never respect us." After the meeting, Jin went to find Hana. She was in the embassy garden, looking at earth flowers. "Your Commander Day is creating problems," Jin said directly. Hana's scales rippled. "He is conducting tests." "Tests we didn't agree to," Jin said. "Cutting power, blocking ships, firing weapons near our cities." "The High Council ordered these tests," Hana admitted. "They want to understand why humans don't show proper fear." "And what have they learned?" Jin asked. "That humans are." Hana paused, searching for the right word. "Stubborn." Jin laughed. It was the first time Hana had heard him laugh. She seemed startled by the sound. "We've had a lot of practice with fear," Jin explained. "Wars, disasters, diseases. We've faced our own monsters throughout history, most of them wearing human faces." He looked directly at Hana. "You're just another challenge to overcome." Hana's scales turned a deep blue, a color Jin had never seen before. "Da will not stop," she warned. "He believes your fearlessness is dangerous." "Why?" Jin asked. "Why would our courage threaten the mighty Korra?" Hana looked away. "Because fear is how we control all other species in the Alliance. Without fear, what would hold the Alliance together?" Jin thought about this. Maybe mutual benefit, friendship, common goals. "These are human ideas," Hana said, but her voice had less certainty than before. That night, Day's ship sent a message to all Korra on Earth. Phase 3 begins tomorrow. Jin didn't know what Phase 3 was, but he knew it would be the hardest test yet. Humanity would need to be ready. Phase 3 began with silence. The Korra stopped all contact with Earth for 3 days. No messages, no meetings. Their ship stayed in orbit, watching but silent. Jin knew this was another test. The Korra wanted humans to worry about what might happen next, but life on Earth went on as normal. On the fourth day, Jin got a call at 3 a.m. "Lieutenant, we need you at headquarters now," said Director Sue's voice. She sounded worried. Jin drove through empty streets. The night was quiet, but he felt like something was watching him. When he reached headquarters, he found Director Sue and General Park looking at a large screen. "They're scanning everything," General Park said, pointing to the screen. Red lines showed Cora scans moving across the planet. "They're looking for something." "What?" Jin asked. "We think they found your trips to Mountain Base 7, Director Sue said. She looked tired. "They've been tracking you." Jin felt a chill. Mountain Base 7 was supposed to be a secret. It was hidden deep in old mountains, protected by special technology that blocked scans, or so they thought. "How did they find it?" Jin asked. "Commander Da has better technology than we expected," General Park said. "He tracked your car the last 3 times you visited." The screen suddenly showed a strong scan focused on the mountain. "They're looking right at it," Director Sue said. "If they find what's inside." Jin made a quick decision. "I need to talk to Hana." "Now." "Why?" asked General Park. "Because Da respects her, and she might listen to me." Jin was already heading for the door. Better to tell some truth than let them discover it all. An hour later, Jin found Hana at the embassy garden. It was still dark outside, but she didn't seem surprised to see him. "Your Commander Da is scanning our mountains," Jin said without greeting. "That breaks our agreement." "He believes you are hiding weapons," Hana said. Her voice was flat. "Are you?" "No," Jin said, "but we are hiding something. And I want to show you before Da finds it himself." Hana's scales changed color rapidly. Jin knew she was surprised. "Why would you show me a secret?" she asked. "Because I think you're starting to understand humans," Jin said. "And this secret explains why we aren't afraid like other species." 3 hours later, Jin's car stopped at a hidden entrance in the mountains. Hana sat next to him, watching everything with careful eyes. "This base was built 50 years ago," Jin explained as they entered through heavy doors, "long before you came to Earth." They went down in an elevator for a long time. When the doors opened, they entered a large round room. In the center was a strange object. It looked like a broken piece of metal, dark gray with odd marks on it. It was about the size of a car, but shaped like nothing Hana had ever seen. "What is this?" she asked. "We found it on Mars 30 years ago," Jin said. "It's not from Earth. And it's not Cora." Hana moved closer to the object. "Another alien species." "Many of them," Jin said. He pressed a button on a nearby table. The air above the object filled with images, strange creatures, planets, star maps. "This is a record of civilizations, all of them gone now." Hana's scales turned almost white. "Gone? How?" "We don't know exactly," Jin said. "But the message is clear. Something destroyed them all. Something that comes from deep space." Jin showed her more images. "Humans have known about alien life for decades. We kept it secret because this artifact warned us. First contact would likely be dangerous." Hana stared at the images, then at Jin. "You were preparing for war before we ever arrived." "We were preparing for survival," Jin corrected. "The Cora aren't the threat we've been getting ready to face. You're just the first visitors." "There is something worse out there," Hana whispered. For the first time, Jin saw real fear in her eyes. "Yes," Jin said simply. "And neither humans nor Cora can face it alone." When Jin returned to the embassy with Hana, Commander Da was waiting. His scales were dark red with anger. "You took her to a secret base," he hissed at Jin. Then he turned to Hana. "And you went without telling me." "I am still the main ambassador," Hana said calmly. "I don't need your permission." Da's claws extended. "What did you see there?" "That is between me and the High Council," Hana replied. Her voice was firm. Jin could feel the tension between them. Something had changed in Hana since she saw the artifact. She seemed less sure of Korra ways. "The human leaders have invited us to a special meeting tomorrow," Daz said finally. "All Korra representatives must attend." Jin didn't like how Daz said this. There was something cold in his voice. The next day, world leaders gathered with the Korra in a large meeting hall. The room was filled with important people from both sides. Jin stood near Director Su, watching Da carefully. The Earth President stood to speak. "Today marks 3 months since the Korra arrived on Earth. We hope to." A loud bang cut her off. Smoke filled one side of the room. People started shouting. "The Korra are attacking," someone yelled. Jin saw Korra's security guards pulling out weapons, but they weren't aiming at humans. They were aiming at their own leaders. "Protect the ambassadors," Jin shouted. Everything happened very fast. Human security teams moved quickly. Jin ran to where Hana was standing. A Korra guard had a weapon pointed at her. Without thinking, Jin tackled the guard. They fell to the floor. The weapon fired, hitting the ceiling. More security teams rushed in. In 10 minutes, it was over. The attackers were captured. No one was killed, though several people were hurt. Jin found Hana in a safe room afterward. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "No," she said. Her scales were pale with shock. "Why did you help me? You could have been killed." "Because that's what humans do," Jin said simply. Later, when things were calmer, Director Su called an emergency meeting. Jin, General Park, and other leaders gathered in a secure room. "It was a setup," General Park said angrily. "The attack was planned by Korra, against Korra." "Why would they attack their own people?" someone asked. Jin understood. It was another test. Dai wanted to see how we would react in a crisis, if we would help them or let them die. Director Su nodded. "And now they know. Humans risked their lives to save Korra diplomats." That night, Jin found a message asking him to meet Hana alone. He went to the garden behind the embassy. She was waiting in the shadows. "Commander Dai planned the attack today," she said quietly. "He wanted to create fear and chaos. He didn't care if some of our own people died." "I know," Jin said. "My people have always used fear as a tool," Hana continued. "We believe it is the only way to control others, to protect ourselves." "There are better ways," Jin said. Hana's scales turned a deep blue. "Da has reported to the High Council that humans are dangerous, not because you have weapons, but because of your ideas." She looked directly at Jin. "The idea that fear can be overcome threatens everything the Korra believe." "Is that why you asked me that first day, why I wasn't scared?" Jin asked. "Yes," Hana admitted. "I couldn't understand it. In all our explorations, we've never met a species that wasn't afraid of us." Jin stepped closer to her. "Your people use fear because it's all you know. We overcame fear long ago because we had to. There are worse things than death, like living without dignity or purpose." Hana was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Da has asked the High Council for permission to show humans real fear. He wants to attack your world." Jin felt cold inside, but his voice remained calm. "And what did they say?" "They're thinking about it," Hana whispered. "We don't have much time." The day after the fake attack, Hana asked Jin to meet her at a quiet lake outside the city. No other Korra or humans were around, just the two of them, watching the water. "There is something I must tell you," Hana said. Her voice was low, as if she was afraid someone might hear. "Something about my people that no outsider knows." Jin waited, saying nothing. "The Korra civilization is not as old as we claim," Hana continued. "We tell other species we have traveled the stars for thousands of years. The truth is different." She looked at the water, her scales reflecting the blue surface. "We found ancient technology on our home planet just 200 years ago. Technology from a race that died long before. We used it to advance quickly. Too quickly." Jin was surprised, but didn't show it. "You didn't earn your knowledge." "No," Hana admitted. "We found it. We copied it. We used it to leave our world and conquer others. She stood up and paced along the shore. Our bodies evolved to be strong, to hunt, to dominate. But our minds, she touched her head with a clawed hand. Our society never had time to grow. We still think like the predators we were. That's why you use fear to control others, Jin said. Yes, it's all we know. Hannah turned to face Jin. Humans are different. Your bodies are weak compared to ours. But your societies, your ideas, your ways of working together, these are strong. Jin thought about this. Is that why Day sees us as a threat? Because we show another way to be strong. Exactly, Hannah said. The High Council fears that other species in our alliance will learn from humans, that they will stop being afraid. Without fear, how will we control them? Jin stood up too. You don't need to control them. You could work with them, as equals. Hannah made a sound that was almost a laugh. That idea frightens the council more than any weapon. She looked up at the sky. Da has convinced many that humans must be taught a lesson. He has ships ready. They will attack a small city to show your kind what real fear is. Jin's heart beat faster, but his face stayed calm. When? Soon. 2 days, maybe 3. Hannah's scales turned a dark, troubled color. I have never questioned our ways before, but what I've seen on Earth, what I've learned from you. She didn't finish her sentence. Why are you telling me this? Jin asked. I don't know, Hannah said honestly. Maybe because when your people saved our diplomats, even knowing it was a trap, it made me think. No species has ever helped us without being forced to. Jin took a step toward her. Help us stop this attack. Hannah stepped back. That would be betraying my people. Would it? Or would it be saving them from a terrible mistake? Jin's voice was gentle but firm. The artifact we found shows what happens when civilizations fight each other instead of working together. Something worse is out there, Hannah. Something that destroyed all those other worlds. The High Council doesn't believe that, Hannah said. Have they seen the evidence? Jin asked. Hannah was quiet for a moment. No, Dave didn't include that in his report. Then they're making decisions without all the facts, Jin said. Tell them what you saw. Show them the truth. Hannah looked troubled. Da has more power than I do now. He won't let me speak to the council directly. Jin looked at the peaceful lake, thinking of what might happen if Korra ships attacked Earth. How humans would respond. How a chance for peace might be lost forever. Then we need a new plan, he said. One that lets both our peoples see the whole truth, before it's too late. Hannah's scales shifted to a color Jin had never seen before. A color of decision. I know how, she said. But it's dangerous. For both of us. Jin sat in a room with Earth's top leaders. Director Sue, General Park, and the president herself listened as he explained what Hannah had told him. She says Dai will attack in 2 days. Jin finished. A small city, to show us what fear means. Can we trust her? General Park asked. His eyes were hard. This could be another trick. I believe her, Jin said firmly. She showed me the truth about Korra history. She didn't have to do that. What's her plan? The president asked. Jin took a deep breath. She wants to help us show the evidence from the Mars artifact to all Korra. Not just the High Council, but everyone, their ships, their people. And to do that, she needs to defect. The room went silent. No alien from any Korra-controlled world had ever defected before. If she does this, she can never go back to her people, Director Sue said quietly. She knows, Jin replied. But she believes it's the only way to stop the attack. The president stood up. When? Tonight, Jin said. But we need to be ready. Dad will try to stop her. Plans were made quickly. Security teams prepared. Scientists gathered all data from the Mars artifact. And Jin waited at the meeting point, a small park near the embassy. The night was cold and clear. Jin checked his watch. Hannah was 10 minutes late. Had something gone wrong? had Dai discovered her plan. Then he saw her walking quickly toward him. She wore a dark cloak that covered her scales. "We must hurry," she said. "Da suspects something. He's ordered all Korra to report to the embassy." They got into a waiting car. As they drove away, Jin saw lights come on at the embassy. Alarms began to sound. "They know I'm gone," Hannah said. Her scales were pale with stress. "This has never happened before. No Korra has ever chosen to help another species against our own." Jin looked at her with respect. "You're very brave." Hannah's scales turned a soft blue. "Or very foolish. My life among my people is over now." They reached a military base where Earth leaders were waiting. Hannah was taken to a secure room filled with communication equipment. "What is this?" she asked. "A broadcast center," Jin explained. "Strong enough to send a message to every Korra ship and base. If you're going to show them the truth, this is how we do it." Scientists brought in all the data from the Mars artifact. Hannah studied it closely. "This will work," she said. "But I need to speak first, to explain why I'm doing this. My people must understand I'm not betraying them. I'm trying to save them." As they prepared the broadcast, an urgent message came in. Korra ships were moving into attack positions. Da had moved up his plans. "He knows what we're trying to do," Hannah said. "We don't have much time." Jin looked at the screens showing Korra ships above Earth. "Can some of your people be trusted? Are there others who might think like you?" "Officer Siak," Hannah said immediately. "He's young, but he asks questions about our ways. And there are others who are uncertain." Jin had an idea. "Send them a private message first. Tell them to watch for your broadcast. We need allies on those ships." Hannah did this quickly. Then she prepared for the main broadcast, the one that would reach all Korra. "Are you ready?" Jin asked her. Hannah looked at him, her alien eyes filled with a very human emotion: hope. "No Korra is ever ready to change everything they believe," she said. "But I will do it anyway." She stepped up to the communication panel. Every screen showed Korra ships getting closer to Earth. Time was running out. Hannah began to speak to her people. Her voice was clear and strong, without fear. "I am Ambassador Hannah. I speak to all Korra with an urgent truth. What we have been told about humans is wrong. What we have been told about ourselves is wrong. And I can prove it." Hannah's broadcast reached every Korra ship and base. She showed them the Mars artifact and explained what it meant. She told them about the ancient civilizations that had been destroyed. She explained how humans had been preparing for a greater threat than the Korra. "We have always used fear to control others," Hannah said to her people. "But humans show us a different way. They face fear and overcome it. They work together when threatened. This is why they might survive what destroyed those other worlds, and why we might not." On the main Korra ship, Commander Dai watched the broadcast with growing anger. His scales turned almost black with rage. "Cut this transmission," he ordered. "Sir, it's coming from multiple Earth sources," a Korra officer said. "We can't block them all." Dai slammed his clawed hand on a control panel. "Prepare attack ships. We will target the broadcast source first." But something unexpected happened. On 3 Korra ships, officers stopped following orders. Young Officer Siak stood up on the second largest ship. "Commander, we should listen to Ambassador Hannah," he said. "What if she's right?" Dai's voice came through the communication system. "Any Korra who sides with the humans is a traitor. Follow your orders." Half the Korra fleet moved toward Earth. The other half stayed in position, uncertain what to do. On Earth, Jin watched the Korra ships on large screens. "Some ships aren't moving," Director Sue said with hope in her voice. "Hannah's message is working on some of them." But Dai's ship was coming straight for the broadcast center. It would be there in minutes. "We need to move to a safer location," General Park said. Jin shook his head. "No. If we run, Dai wins. He wants us to show fear." "But his ship has weapons that could destroy this entire building," Director Sue argued. Then we face him, Jin said simply, like humans always have. Hana stood beside Jin. I will face him with you. Suddenly, alarms sounded throughout the building. A small Korra ship had landed on the roof. Armed Korra soldiers were entering the building. Keep broadcasting, Jin told Hana. I'll handle this. Jin and a small security team went to the top floor. They could hear the Korra breaking through doors. Stay behind me, Jin told his team. Try not to hurt them. They're just following orders. The door at the end of the hall burst open. Commander Dai walked in, followed by 6 Korra soldiers. Dai was even more impressive in person than in meetings. His scales seemed to absorb light. His claws extended fully, gleaming like knives. You have turned one of our kind against us, Dai said to Jin. His voice was cold with hate. This ends now. It doesn't have to end in violence, Jin said calmly. Your own people are questioning your orders. Listen to what Hana has found. Weak words from a weak species, Dai snarled. This is why you should fear us, human. I can kill you with a single strike. The Korra soldiers moved forward, weapons ready. Jin's security team raised their own weapons. But Jin stepped forward, alone, facing Dai directly. Commander Dai, Jin said, his voice steady. Why do you need us to fear you so badly? Dai seemed surprised by the question. Because fear is power, he said. No, Jin replied. Fear is just fear. True power comes from trust, from working together even when afraid. Dai moved closer to Jin, towering over him. His claws could tear Jin apart in seconds. Everyone in the room knew it. Why aren't you scared, human? Dai demanded, his voice a dangerous whisper. Don't you realize I can kill you with a single strike? Jin looked up at the massive alien predator. He didn't back away. He didn't show fear. He simply spoke the truth. Because death isn't the worst outcome, Jin said. Failing to stand for what's right is. And if being fearless is what it takes to show your people a better way, then my death would mean something. The room went completely silent. No one moved. The human and the alien stared at each other. Then a new voice came over the building's speakers. It was Officer Siuk. Commander Dai, he said, the High Council is calling. They want to speak with Ambassador Hana and with the human, Jin. 3 months after the confrontation with Dai, Jin stood on the observation deck of a new building. It was neither fully human nor fully Korra in design. It had elements of both cultures, the first true joint project between the two species. The Alliance Center, Director Su said, walking up beside him. It's finally done. Jin nodded, looking out at the view, Earth on one side, and the Korra fleet hanging in the sky on the other. But the fleet looked different now. The ships were no longer positioned for attack, but for protection. The High Council arrives today, Jin said. Their first visit to Earth. Much had changed since that day when Dai had asked Jin why he wasn't afraid. The High Council had watched Hana's broadcast and seen the evidence from the Mars artifact. They had called back all attack ships and opened real talks with Earth. Dai had been removed from his command. Officer Siuk had been promoted. And Hana had become the voice of a new movement among the Korra. A movement that questioned the old ways of fear and control. You should be proud, Director Su told Jin. You changed an entire alien civilization with words, not weapons. Jin smiled slightly. Humans are good with words, and Korra are learning to listen. Later that day, the High Council of the Korra arrived. 5 tall, impressive aliens walked into the grand meeting hall where human leaders waited. Hana stood with them as translator. The head counselor, an ancient Korra named Min, spoke first. For 10,000 years, the Korra have ruled through fear. It was effective, but limited. His voice was deep and carried wisdom. Humans have shown us another path. The treaty they signed that day was unlike any the Korra had offered before. It spoke of mutual defense, shared knowledge, and equal standing. Not masters and servants, but partners. Together, "We will study the Mars artifact," the president of Earth said. "Together, we will prepare for whatever threat destroyed those ancient civilizations." After the ceremony, Jin found Hannah looking out at the stars. "Your people are changing," Jin said to her. Slowly, Hannah replied. Her scales were a calm blue now, a color Jin had learned meant contentment. "Change is hard for predators. We like to think we are always right." "Humans are the same," Jin admitted. "We're stubborn too." Hannah turned to him. "The young ones like Siak are learning fastest. They question everything now. Why do we do things this way? Is there a better method? Da would hate it." They both smiled at this. Da had been sent back to the Korra homeworld, where he would spend his time teaching combat, far from any diplomatic role. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. Jin and Hannah rushed to the command center. On the main screen, a massive shape had appeared at the edge of the solar system. "What is it?" Jin asked. "Unknown," replied a human operator. "It's huge, bigger than any Korra ship, and old, very old." The object was dark and strange, with a shape that hurt the eyes to look at. It moved slowly but with purpose. "The threat from the Mars artifact," Hannah whispered. "It's finally here." Orders went out quickly. The joint human-Korra defense fleet moved into position. Not just military ships, but science vessels too. They would study this thing, understand it, before deciding how to respond. Jin and Hannah were asked to join the command ship. As they prepared to leave Earth, Hannah stopped Jin in a quiet moment alone. "Are you scared now?" she asked. Her voice was gentle, not challenging. Jin looked at the image of the massive ancient vessel that had destroyed so many civilizations before. Then he looked at the human and Korra ships working together, coordinating their efforts. "Of course I am," he admitted. "Fear is natural when facing the unknown." He reached out and took Hannah's hand, a gesture that would have been unthinkable months before. But facing it together, that's what makes us strong. Their ship lifted off, joining the fleet. As they approached the massive alien vessel, human and Korra stood side by side. Not fearless, but resolute, ready to face whatever came next, together. The end.